Hi guys, I'm going to be doing a whispering video. Got my little microphone headphones right here, so I don't know if it's really loud or not. If it is, I'll end up adjusting it in iMovie. But today I'm going to be reading a few of my favorite poems from this book. It is called When We Were Very Young, and it is by A.A. Milne with illustrations by Ernest H. Shepard. And it's the same person who wrote the Winnie the Pooh stories, which has always been like a personal favorite of mine because when I was a baby, my nursery was Winnie the Pooh themed. It had like wallpaper with all the characters on it, and the mobile I had above my bed had little plush like the figures hanging from it. And my grandma made a quilt with fabric, and I actually have a giant Pooh Bear here. So Pooh is definitely one of my favorite like childhood nostalgia things. This is not a series of books, but like it's a series of books, but it's not like a story arc necessarily. They're individuals. There is 4 or 5 in the collection. I think I have them all. I'm not sure. I haven't actually read all of them. It's really only this one I've read. It's just a bunch of little poems. And my grandmother got them for me for my birthdays when I was very young. This one was the first one she gave me starting at my first birthday. So on the inside it says, "I'm Victoria, now you are one. Much love, Grandma and Grandpa." So they wrote my first birthday date on it, and they're very special to me. Like some people have certain things that they like collect or that they just have that mean a lot to them, a lot of sentimental value, and this is one of them for me. So yeah, I'm gonna try and read some of these poems quietly, I hope. I don't know if the mic is directly near my mouth, so this could end up really badly, but we will find out. So they also have really beautiful illustrations, so I'm gonna try and get some scratching, tapping sounds, page flipping. So I'm actually going to take this book cover off because when I'm reading, it always bothers me because like it sticks to my hand. So I don't know, could I? Yeah, no, it doesn't really make like sticky sounds. So put that over there. So now underneath the cover, it's actually not pink. It's like a maroon, kind of. It's very deep, purpley red, kind of berry colored. And then on the side, it has the title, the author, and the publisher in gold foil. So it also has little tiny bees on it. And this side part is fabric, so it feels slightly different. It's very pretty. And then the other parts of it are cardboard but over the fabric. So pardon my band-aid, I have a problem where I'm making the skin on my fingers. A lot of people do it, so I'm trying to stop. It's like biting my nails. Pirates in quite a while, so it's gonna be like a blast of nostalgia. It used to be my favorite thing ever. It's got, it's upside down. It's got trees and a little bird, some animals, and then two little kids. It's really cute. So, and then there's the publication page, and the book was actually written, so copyright 1924, so very, very old, and then the copyright was renewed in 1952, and then it was redesigned in 1988, and as far as I know, it was purchased in 1998, but my grandparents frequent flea markets and tag sales and a lot of bookstores, like not like Barnes and Noble or Borders, but like the kinds that like they collect old books and then they sell them. So I have no idea when these books were actually purchased. All I know is that I was given them one at a time for a couple years, and they're very nice. And then on the dedication page it says, to Christopher Robin Milne, or as he prefers to call himself, Billy Moon. This book, which owes so much to him, is now humbly offered. So, Christopher Robin from the famous Winnie the Pooh stories was an actual little boy, and apparently he preferred to call himself Billy Moon, which is adorable because my little sister sometimes comes up with new names to call herself, and she gets pretty annoyed if we don't call her them. There's a picture of a little bear, but it's actually part of one of the poems in here, so I'll show you that when we get to it. There's a foreword, but it's quite long, so I'll skip over that and get to the interesting parts. I mean, it's an interesting foreword, but it doesn't, like, rhyme, so the table of contents, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44 poems. I probably didn't count that right because I'm trying to haphazardly angle towards the camera, but I don't know, that didn't actually work out too well, so I tried. And one of the poems has a little asterisk on it. Which one? Oh, it was the last one, and it's entitled Vespers, and then at the bottom has a little explanation, and it says, this poem, being in the library of the Queen's Doll's house, is printed here with special permission. It's just a nice little cute thing to add to the atmosphere of, like, a young child playing. So it's quite a thin book, so you can tell because there are so many that most of them are quite short. favorite one, actually, since I was little. Since I could actually start reading by myself. And it's called Rice Pudding. And it's actually, the illustration on the cover is from Rice Pudding. So I'll definitely end up reading that one. So, let's begin. Alright, so, first one, it's very short. It's called Corner of the Street. And the illustration is a little boy skipping down the street, and his nanny, governess, nurse, nun, I don't know who she is. I don't know, but she's chasing along behind him. And I think that's supposedly Christopher Robin. I'm not sure. A lot of them are just little boys and girls with no actual names put to them, but some of them do have names. So, corner of the street. Down by the corner of the street, where the three roads meet, and the feet of the people as they pass go tweet, tweet, tweet. Who comes tripping round the corner of the street? One pair of shoes was her nurse's, one pair of slippers which are Percy's. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Oh, okay, so I guess it is his nurse, and the boy's name is Percy, so I didn't pay attention. The next one's quite long. It's actually 2 pages plus the illustration. And it's called Buckingham Palace. And Christopher Robin goes down to Buckingham Palace with his nurse to watch the changing of the guard. I'm gonna try and find one with maybe S's and K's, because a lot of people say that those particular sounds trigger them. Okay, this is a good one. It's called Twinkle Toes, and it has a very tiny little illustration of fairies and flowers. When the sun shines through the leaves of the apple tree, when the sun makes shadows of the leaves of the apple tree, then I pass on the grass, from one leaf to another, from one leaf to its brother. Tiptoe, tiptoe, here I go. There's one called The Four Friends, about Ernest the Elephant, Leonard the Lion, George the Goat, and James, a very small snail. And it tells about all the things that these animals do, because the elephant is big, the lion is loud, and the goat is the goat is just kind of there, I guess. And they're all doing these things, and James is just kind of there. James sat down on a brick. James gave the Hufflepuff tail in danger, and nobody hurt him at all. And then at the end it says, but James was only a snail, so I kind of always felt bad for James, the little snail. Okay. So the illustration at the beginning, I believe, is from this one called Lines and Squares. And little boy says that whenever he walks in London Street, he has to keep the squares to watch out for all the bears that supposedly inhabit the sidewalks of London. So it's got all these it's like little kids do step on a crack and break their mother's back. So it's like another one of those little superstitions that little kids have. So he doesn't step on any of the lines. He stays strictly on the squares. Whenever I walk in a London street, I'm ever so careful to watch my feet, and I keep in the squares and the masses of bears who all wait at the corners all ready to eat. The sillies who tread on the lines of the street go back to their lairs, and I say to them, "Bears, just look how I'm walking in all of the squares." And the little bears growl to each other, "He's mine," as soon as he's silly and steps on a line. And some of the bigger bears try to pretend that they came round the corner to look for a friend, and they try to pretend that nobody cares whether you walk on the lines or the squares. But only the sillies believe their talk. It's ever so important how you walk, and it's ever so jolly to call out, "Bears, just watch me walking in all of the squares." This poem has like different parts, and it's called Nursery Chairs. And it says, one of the chairs is South America, one of the chairs is a ship at sea, one is a cage for a great big lion, and one is a chair for me. So it's all the different chairs in the little boy's house, and he plays make-believe on them, and each one is like a different world. So I'm going to skip to the third chair, and he's standing on the chair, and around him is like a roaring sea and some ships. When I am in my ship, I see the other ships go sailing by. A sailor leans and calls to me as his ship goes sailing by. Across the sea he leads to me. Above the winds I hear him cry. Is this the way to round the world? He calls as he goes by. The last one is actually really sweet because the fourth chair doesn't have a separate world. Whenever I sit in a high chair for breakfast or dinner or tea, I try to pretend that it's my chair and that I am a baby of 3. And then at the end it has a little prologue. Shall I go off to South America? Shall I put out my ship to sea? Or get in my cage and be lions and tigers? Or shall I be only me? So the last chair, he's just sitting at a table, praying before he eats. And that's just him being himself. Market Square goes on for a couple of pages. So Christopher Robin gets a penny, and he really wanted to get a rabbit, and he goes to the market square, and all of these people try to keep selling him things, but none of them have rabbits, and he keeps finding more money as he goes on. And so he ends up just giving up at the marketplace, and then he says that he feels sorry for all those people because they haven't got a rabbit, not anywhere there. And then at the end it shows him sitting in a field with a bunch of rabbits, so I guess it's safe to say he got his rabbit. This one is called Daffodowndilly. I'm sorry, my throat is making really weird noises. I don't know if it'll show up on the recording. I really hope it doesn't. In this illustration, it's just a couple flowers. In a field, there's like a bird in the sky, some clouds, some nice tall grass. It appears to be swaying in the breeze. She wore her yellow sunbonnet. She wore her greenest gown. She turned to the south wind and curtsied up and down. She turned to the sunlight and shook her yellow head and whispered to her neighbor, "Winter is dead." So it's about spring finally coming, which I can relate to because in New England, winters are a bit ridiculous. I was out of school for like a week and a half because we had snow up to our windowsills and nobody could get out, and the roads just did not get plowed for so long. And then it just kind of stayed cold for a long time. And then we kind of skipped over spring and went straight into summer. So it was still better than being really hot though. So yeah. This one is called The Island, and the illustration is the little boy sitting on the beach. There are some seagulls and like grass in the sand dunes, water, nice clear sky. It's about a page and a half because illustration takes up a good half page. If I had a ship, I'd sail my ship, I'd sail my ship through eastern seas, down to a beach where the slow waves thunder, the green curls over and the white falls under. Boom, 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 on the sun-bright sand. Then I'd leave my ship and I'd land, and I'd climb the steep white sand, and climb to the trees, the 6 dark trees, the coconut trees on the cliff's green crown, hands and knees to the coconut trees, face to the cliff as the stones batter down, up, 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 staggering, stumbling, round the corner where the rock is crumbling, round this shoulder, over this boulder, up to the top where the 6 trees stand, and there I would rest and lie my chin in my hands and gaze at the dazzle of sand below, and the green waves curling slow, and the gray-blue distant haze, where the sea goes up to the sky. And I'd say to myself, as I looked so lazily down at the sea, there's nobody else in the world, and the world was made for me. This one is called Politeness, and it's generally little kids not wanting to behave. It's a little kid, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, I'm gonna guess it's a boy because of how they dressed back then. It's kind of, I don't know, either having a tantrum or doing his own thing. It's not really that clear. It's kind of an odd pose. He's like, I have no idea. ask me, I always tell them, "Quite well, thank you, I'm very glad to say." If people ask me, I always answer, "Quite well, thank you, how are you today?" I always answer, I always tell them, if they ask me politely, but sometimes I wish that they wouldn't. So, all you people who blog and tumble and stuff, you can relate to that, can't you? Because I know personally that I just hate people. No offense to any of you, not a personal thing. I don't like people. Like, can you not? Okay, this is my absolute favorite one. It goes on for a couple of pages. So, I already showed you the cover illustration. But, it's called Rice Pudding. And there's this little girl named Mary Jane. And she keeps, like, complaining and crying and stuff. And it's all because rice pudding is for dinner. And she does not like that one bit. So there's her nurse in the hallway because she's having a tantrum and throwing her toys. They send in the doctor, not the doctor, to check her out, see if she's actually sick, and then it's the same illustration from the cover again at the end with her kicking her shoe off at the table, true tantrum style. What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's crying with all her might and main, and she won't eat her tinning rice pudding again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? I've promised her dolls and a daisy chain and a book about animals, all in vain. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's perfectly well and she hasn't a pain, but look at her, now she's beginning again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? I've promised her sweets and a ride in the train. I begged her to stop for a bit and explain. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's perfectly well and she hasn't a pain. And it's lovely rice pudding for dinner again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? See, I can relate to this girl because I think rice pudding is the nastiest thing ever. Like, I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture. Yeah, I could do without that, so I feel for her. The king's breakfast is a funny one. The king just wanted some butter for his royal slice of bread, and it is just kind of all hell breaks loose because everyone keeps suggesting other stuff, and like the dairymaid ends up like dancing with a cow, and then he just wants his butter. This one's called Hoppity, and it just shows Christopher Robin hopping along, no care in the world. Christopher Robin goes hoppity, 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 hop. Whenever I tell him politely to stop it, he says he can't possibly stop. If he stopped hopping, he couldn't go anywhere. Poor little Christopher couldn't go anywhere. That's why he always goes hoppity, 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 hop. My feet are going numb from sitting like this. Oh, yeah, my feet are asleep. Okay. Summer afternoon has an illustration of some cows. 6 brown cows walk down to drink. All the little fishes blew bubbles at the mayfly. Splash goes the first as he comes to the brink. Swish go the tails of the 5 who follow. My laptop is falling asleep. 12 brown cows bend drinking there. All the little fishes went waggle-tail, waggle-tail. 6 from the water and 6 from the air. Up and down the river darts a blue-black swallow. Okay, so, because my legs are properly asleep now and my toes are starting to tingle, I'm gonna have to end this. It's about a half hour long, which is the longest video I've ever made, so let's say it's not too bad. You can probably expect some longer videos in the future. But, yeah, it's like 3 in the morning and I was really bored. So, 3 in the morning and I'm in jeans and a shirt because I'm a normal person, obviously. Sorry, oh my gosh, I had soda earlier and I keep burping. And I know that some people like eating and drinking sounds, but I really don't think burping is one of those relaxing sounds. So, yeah, most people would say that's not a ladylike thing, but I say that is bullshit because it is a regular bodily function. So, I don't want to get any shitstorms in the comments, alright? Yeah. So, if you guys have any requests, you can just message me or just leave a comment below. I need to make a massive apology for Mark Knowles. He sent me a request, I think it was a couple weeks ago, for this video, as in like lighting matches, like getting the scratching sound of igniting them on a little strip, and then letting them sizzle out in water. And I couldn't get the right matches at first, but then I could, and I tried to make the video, but I started a small fire. So, big apology for you, Mark, that I couldn't actually do that. Yeah, so if you guys request anything, I will try and do it. I haven't actually done any role plays yet because I haven't really got any good ideas. I mean, there's like cranial nerve exams and stuff, but there are so many of those. I really want to do something that's like kind of different. So, I don't know if you guys have any ideas. Just shoot them to me, you know. So, I mean, hopefully you guys are asleep by now, but if you're still awake, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. A review means so much to me, and hope you're relaxed. Hope you were triggered at some point in this video. If you tell me what you liked, I can try and